As part of We the People, celebrating 250 years, here's This Day in History.
And as we continue our countdown to America's 250th birthday next summer, we are sharing our We the People series, the people, places, and things of the past that have shaped our country into what it is today. And Charlie Shortino has This Day in History.
Hello again. On this day, December 30th, back in 1922, authorities confiscated illegal mash and moonshine from a suspected bootlegger in Madison. Now, who that suspected bootlegger was, documents are not very clear on, and Madison has a long list of possible suspects in history, including Jeannie Justo, who is known as the queen for bootleggers, and the brothers Roger and Eddie Toohey, who were rivals of Al Capone. In total, 1,200 gallons of mash, a mixture that is fermented to make alcohol, and 15 gallons of moonshine were taken from the home. This was just one of many raids during the Prohibition period, with several speakeasies and hidden breweries believed to be in and around the Greenbush neighborhood, as well as around State Street. In the last 3 months of 1922, there were 26 convictions for illegal alcohol sales and almost 4,000 gallons of homemade or bootlegged liquor confiscated. That's This Day in History for December 30th. For We the People, I'm Charlie Shortino.